So moving on with inline CSS, and let's practice it. And first of all, I've told you that this is a attribute that that we have used already in HTML. So here we are using style as an attribute, and in you will see as we move forward that we will use it as a tag also, but here we are using it as a attribute, and this is the property of this attribute and the value of this attribute. So let's practice this. Also, I want to introduce you to this online tool that I'm using today. It's codepen.io, and I'm gonna write it, and you can see the result as often. So let's try the inline CSS thing first. And for example, if I want this heading to be of some color, like I want its style, first we have to add the attribute style, and then the property that we want to use, and that's color, the colon, and color is the property, and now we're gonna add the value, the actual value of that property. So let's save it, and you can see it's already here. My first heading is in blue. So this is inline CSS. If you want your specific items to be of specific colors, or specific you want specific modifications, then you can particularly choose those tags, and you can add inline CSS in those tags by style attribute. So the next method that is here is internal CSS, and you can see that internal defines something that this CSS file or this CSS thing is gonna be in our file, or it's gonna it's gonna be appearing into the exact HTML file. So internal CSS is used to define style for a single HTML page. Like you can't use it into another page. You can use the internal CSS in a single page, and you can add whatever you want in the head section basically. So this is the head section, and whatever we want to style our body to be like, we're gonna add an element style here, a tag style here into our head, and that's not gonna appear on our web browser, but it's just gonna guide the browser to style these elements in this way. So let's move forward and let's practice this here, as we have here the head, and we're gonna add our, so here we have, I've told you that this is a style tag, and we have used this as a style attribute. So we write tags like this. So let's add the style tag here. So style, opening tag, and ending tag. So in this tag, I'm gonna add the the properties or the modifications that I want in here. So what am I gonna do is, what we need to do is to we have to call the element's name here in our style attribute. We need to call this if we want to edit this. We need to call body if we want to edit the body. We need to call we will learn classes and IDs further, and then we'll call ID or class in here, so with their name and the specific syntax they have. So for now we have this heading and paragraph, and what we'll do that there is a method. What we're gonna do is, first of all, we are gonna write the selector. So selector is on which we want to apply some modification. So I want modifications on h1, for example. I'm gonna write h1. H1 is a selector, and then we have a rule that will put on the curly brackets, and in between them we're gonna add our properties as we added them before. For example, if I want h1 to be of color red, you say, and here we don't have to add the quotation marks as we are doing it in a tag. So this is not a attribute anymore, so we'll add it as it is and without any quotation marks. But don't forget the semicolon, and let's add the semicolon here, and you can see the heading is in red now, and we haven't added any attribute in here. We just added things here in the style attribute, and we've called our tag here. Just also, if I want my body's background to be of some color, I will call body. This is my selector, body is my selector, and then I'm gonna add these curly braces, and I'm then gonna write the property name, that's background color, background and a hyphen and color, and that's I need it to be, you know, powder blue, maybe powder blue, and I'm gonna add a semicolon, and then you can see that we have this background color here. Also, if you want to apply like a similar modification to more than one tags, then you can just if for example we have two headings here, I want h2 to be red too, but we don't need to add this whole thing again. What we're gonna do is just we're gonna add a semicolon here, and we're gonna add another selector here, and you can then see that we have our heading 2 as red too. So this is the simple method that we use in internal CSS for our timing. So the very third method we have so far covered inline CSS, that was in the line, and we have covered internal CSS, that was in the file actually, or in that specific HTML page. And now we're gonna talk about external CSS, that's about whole website. This can change the look of your whole website actually, or not just a single page. External CSS is gonna be an separate file. We're gonna where we're gonna write the CSS code for, you know, for modification of our HTML page. So with an external sheet, we can change the look of an entire website just by changing that CSS file and not the HTML file. So to use that external sheet, what we have to do is we have to add a external link into this head. And how we're gonna add this link is by this tag link, and we're gonna give here some values, like this is a relationship, that we're going to tell browser that this is the relationship of the file that we're adding to this HTML page. This is not really important, but we add it as for our safety, that we remember that we have added certain file for which use, or for why we needed it. And here we're going to write that this was a style sheet, and we're gonna add this href that is gonna provide us the link of our file. So let's practice this now, and I'm gonna do this in a editor. First of all, add a new file here. So this is a Sublime Text. This is an offline editor for HTML. We can't like practice external CSS here. We can actually, but I'm just gonna show you how we can save the CSS file and things like that. So let's just add this here. And I'm going to create another file and let's save it as, I'm going to save it here and I'll name it as site.css. So this is the extension that we are going to use for CSS file, as we have used it for another extension we have used for HTML, that was .html. That's going to specify that the file is for styling. So I'm going to save it like that, and what we're going to do is save this file to in here as site.html and save it. And let's just, I'm going to show you how to add this. So in the head element, we're going to do what? We're going to add the link tag, and then we're going to add a attribute that's going to tell us that this is a style sheet for our HTML page. And then we're gonna add href attribute for linking to that page that we have just created. Its name is site.css. And now